What's up, guys? I just got done listening to Weird Al's Confessions Part 3, and it's kind of the only thing I have to do due to the fact that due to a thunderstorm, I have no internet right now. And realizing one of your main sources of entertainment being the internet, when you don't have it, you kind of have to... It's almost like relearning how to walk. And I don't mean it that seriously for people who've actually done that. It's more... there's just not terribly many fucking things to do. And so, one of which I definitely came up with some ideas. I tried playing Super Mario Brothers 2, which is going to be a Let's Play later this year, and that didn't work. Wound up raging, couldn't get past the third world. You know, the throw mechanics in that game are not pleasant for me. You throw either one frame in front of your face or 4 frames in front of your face, and you never know which one it's going to be. So I raged in that game, got pissed off, and then, thought, I could watch television right there, so I tried watching MSNBC. That got boring. We're talking about Donald Trump and the plan to get back into healthcare again, and the stuff going on with Syria, and what our involvement with North Korea and all that. And you can only take so much because, as usual, everything's so tentative. But so that got tiresome. The only thing left to do was just to listen to Weird Al. Now, I tried listening to Spotify, but the internet doesn't work. So really, I don't have any options left to do. So the only thing I had was just the music that I actually own. And then, I just listened to Weird Al, but there's only 4 songs that I really like from Straight Outta Linwood. So after listening to Confessions Part 3 and Canadian Idiot, I basically said, why not do a Nintendo Power special? So doesn't that cover look spooky? I think a real rendition of a Mortal Kombat character, that actually looks better than the costume design from the movie. I mean, if Scorpion, I don't know if they took that from the movie, but Scorpion right there looks downright demonic, and that's the Scorpion I'm used to. I think for a lot of folks, he might be a praised character in the Mortal Kombat series, but really, this indicates fear. It's definitely something I like trying to indicate on my channel at times. But, within this issue of Nintendo Power, we've got... This is actually one that I owned. I was subscribed in 1994, so I just took off the name tag. But, the same standard contest that went on, what you're looking at right here, is the first look at Killer Instinct for the Nintendo 64. So, in 1994, this was 2 years before the Nintendo 64 came out. So back then, it was like, hey, this is three-dimensional. This is three-dimensional gaming. It's going to be kick-ass. This is going to blow everything out of the water. And I used to have some of the magazines where they talked about the unveiling of the Nintendo PlayStation, which was the disc system for the Super Nintendo. And they just kind of quietly quit talking about it in the middle of '93. So we just full-blown switched to the Nintendo 64, which was the Ultra, the Nintendo Ultra 64. This, and coinciding with the Super, and then Ultra would be the next one. So it didn't start with Mario. We didn't know anything about a Mario game in '94. But the other thing that was prevalent in there was talking about the making of Donkey Kong Country because they had 3-dimensional graphics in a 2-dimensional game, and that was unheard of up to that point. And really, outside of Japan, nobody really knew anything that was coming. Now, Sega and Sony had the Saturn and PlayStation, so that shit was getting ready to happen 94, but in America, we were just... I mean, I know the games that were probably being played around this time. We're talking NBA Jam, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, a couple other games, rock and roll racing, that sort of stuff. But, I mean, even... I think Madden actually was somewhat popular back in 95, 94, but... So that was just the extra stuff. So obviously the features, I can show a little bit of Mortal Kombat. You know, you get detailed results. There's Reptile, that's another one. That's pretty awesome too. Guess I could show these. Sub-Zero, Shao Kahn. There's gotta be one more. So I've always liked this dragon. I think that they need to keep that with Mortal Kombat. I don't know what it's supposed to represent. It's actually been something you could attack in a couple games, but yeah, I mean, the lightning, it was fire-based in the first one, it's lightning-based in this one, and it was kind of purple clouds in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. I don't really remember, what it was for Mortal Kombat 3, so... Yeah, so there's characters, but there's also characters that were not in it. Like, I don't think Johnny Cage is in it this time. Liu Kang actually becomes, like, the de facto leader. Sonya Blade gets kidnapped or something like that. Either she's in it or she's getting ready to get kidnapped, because she's kidnapped in either the second one or the third one. And Jax is in the second one or the third one. And they're kind of like the good force, the almost police force of the group, of the series. Kano is not in it. I think he was only in the first one. I think he is in the third one, though. Raiden is, of course, I think he's not even a person. He's just lightning. But, yeah, lots of new stuff. I know the characters from the original Mortal Kombat, but once we get to Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, I just can't keep track of all of them. 8 characters is easy enough to keep track of. But then, you know, we also bring out Troy Aikman football. Troy Aikman was big back in the 90s. So he had his own game in 94. And then there was something else that came up in that magazine that I was going to talk about. But between all that, that was the basic wrap-up of it. I guess I could talk about the complaints that they said about Mortal Kombat 2 just to see what ruffled Nintendo Powers. Here's the contest to meet Chris Berman. I'm gonna see what the naysaying about Mortal Kombat 2 was. Depictions of violence may turn off some players. So, yeah. Really not too much, but, you know, it's just the standard thing. I mean, just kind of makes you wonder all the different stuff that wound up going on back. I mean, it must have been pretty good to be a video game journalist in the early 90s. That must have been pretty simple. I mean, obviously I'm pretty internet based, but I mean, that sort of thing speaks volume.